Happy President's Day! Quick, what's your favorite president?
Hamilton! Wait.
Is this being recorded?
Yeah. Franklin.
Mm-hmm. That was my next one. Harrison.
Pierce.
I'm going to go with Taft.
Tyler.
Van Buren.
Tyler too?
Ah.
V-dubs.
Like Eisenhower.
There you go. Everybody
Take
loves this.
One of the
highway
Harrisons,
system.
whichever one was from Indiana.
The one that died within 3 months or whatever.
Yeah, I
Who's
covered
the
it by
best?
not specifying Harrison. I got both of them. And mine was a twofer.
I'm going to go with Adams then, so I get a twofer.
Yeah, but you got the crappy twofer.
Your Harrisons are real solid, are they?
One of them's a Hoosier, so hell yeah, son.
So why has nobody said Reagan yet? I guess Reagan's still open.
Yeah.
Reagan's
got
still
it.
on the board.
You nailed it, buddy.
Reagan's on the board.
Who knew Joey was the Reaganite of the group?
That money's, it will trickle down to me at some point.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect. Yeah, so just prepare to...
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to...
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You were listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. This is episode 749. Is that right?
Yes.
I did it. Oh, I did the work, and then
Didn't trust yourself.
I don't. Yeah, you know, it's been all this news has been making me jittery.
Yeah. Well, if there's one...
I don't know what's true.
There's one thing that's stable. It's this here podcast.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I don't know what's true anymore, but the documents tell me it's episode 749. Company from Indianapolis, Indiana. I guess. Yeah, that's right. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we're going to discuss a 3-3 2 weeks of Pacers basketball pre-All-Star break. Joining me this show are all three of our analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatables? More birthday shout-outs. Shout out to my nephew, Levi. Turning 6 somehow this year. Wild. Happy birthday, buddy.
Shout out.
From Asheville, North Carolina, he's our in-house bartender, mixing up the drinks in the crappy jingles. It's another man's treasure, John Colson.
What's up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Undebeatables? Quick shout out to friend of the show, Mike Morrow. It's his 33rd birthday tomorrow.
Shout out.
I made that
out,
up.
young man.
I'm going to have to check the math on that one.
I think it's his 33rd birthday.
That sounds closer.
Yeah.
Shout out, buddy.
Shout out.
Shout out. From Tacoma, Washington, out west, it's our enforcer, John Harper.
What is going on, fellas? Shout out to some birthdays as well. I got my nephew had his birthday, and my friend Kaylee. Shout out Kiki.
Shout out.
Oh.
Before we get into the show, I do want to remind listeners they can support the longest running Pacers podcast. That's us. By heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables. You can support our show for as little is $1 per month. But higher too, but as little as $1 per month.
We'll take all your money.
Yeah, I mean, we will. I'll take it. Colson's our CFO, so I'm sure he's got the budget down to the nickel.
Yeah, well, I've already spent the money that we don't have yet. That's how budgeting works, right?
Yeah. 10 pence are a thing, right?
Pennies aren't, though, as far as I know.
Are the pennies
They're
out?
getting rid of the pennies.
They're more expensive to make than they're
Yeah.
worth.
I know.
Yeah.
That's something I've been hearing about for years and years and years. They keep considering that, but
Also more expensive to make the nickel than 5
Is it?
cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably nix that too.
They probably should get rid of the dimes. Let's just go to quarters. What are we doing?
Let's just go to credit cards.
But how will I call someone on my payphone?
Sorry, what's this now?
How
Is
will
that Grandpa Colson?
How will I pay my parking meter? How will I do my laundry?
I had to actually use a parking meter the other day rather than like a mobile app, and I complained about it for 5 minutes.
The entire time you were doing it.
Yep, and most of the time the meter was running.
did you have to pay with it by coin or did you use a credit card?
I mean, I used a credit card, but I had to walk up to the thing.
Oh my god!
I know.
This guy.
Figure
And
out
I was
what.
like, I was like, I don't know how much money I'm putting on here. I don't know what's happening. It's
I
just like
thought
this
we
little-
won the war.
little screen I can't read. I was like, I'm gonna be here for 5 minutes, but just give me the max, whatever that is.
I will pay $30 for this 5 minutes.
Fine, just make it stop.
One parking, please. I gotta go.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, yeah. Between the Super Bowl and All-Star Weekend, and President's Day. Let's be honest, we are all out of sorts here. So we are reaching back into the past to discuss the Pacers games. We're going to go through these pretty quickly here, but 2 weeks of Pacers games. The first one we need to discuss. Pacers have a nice win on the road at Utah, winning 112-111. Pascal Siakam, fantastic game, 22 points out of him. And Nesmith and Toppin, 13 both off the bench. The game, Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. Pacers play the hapless Portland Trailblazers, and we get
Hapless.
stomped. 89. Actually, yeah, they were now Is it hapful
Hapful,
after this
so
game? I don't know. Yeah, they stomp us 112-89. We were having a discussion on Slack that there seems to maybe be a devil's bargain here that the Pacers will lose to the Portland Trailblazers every time they meet in trade for Kevin Pritchard being fantastic at his job. So, which, if that's what it is, I think that's a trade we're willing to live with. But we did lose, and it was embarrassing. Thursday, February 6th, Pacers took on the LA Clippers, and they win 119-112. Kawhi Leonard graced us with some minutes on the floor, dropping 19. Actually, their starters had a decent showing. Harden and Norman Powell both had 22. But we had Pascal Siakam on our team. He got 33 for us. And Benedict Mathurin, looking pretty sweet. 25 points for him. Pacers get the nationally televised Lakers game Saturday, February 8th, with no big names playing.
No one playing.
For the Lakers. And they handled us 124-117. Assumption was that Luka was going to make his debut. He did not play. LeBron did not play.
And it was
We
over
did
after
have-
the first quarter.
Yeah, they had Austin Reeves, and we had no answer, I guess. So he dropped a career-high 45 on our heads. Tuesday, February 11th, Pacers play the New York Knickerbockers. Lose 128 to 115. Did want us to win this game. We can talk about this one later. Josh Hart's still annoying, by the way. The last game before the break, Wednesday, February 12th. JT in the house for this one. Pacers win 134 to 130 over the Washington Wizards in overtime. In a game they did not look like they were going to win. But it turns out Bennedict Mathurin was pretty helpful in the second half and overtime. 28 points for him. So, Jason, I guess, I want to go to you first. You were at the Wizards game, and, what was your experience being a Pacer fan in the confines of Wizards territory?
I mean, it was a roller coaster, for sure. The Pacers, to that point, had not been playing good ball. Got 2 national TV games and got smoked in both of them. Got smoked by the Blazers. We're kind of getting smoked by the Jazz, but somehow came back and won that game.
Yeah, I didn't think they were winning that game.
So I wasn't feeling too good. I felt like the team was clearly on their way to a break. And in this Wizards game, they actually got down by 19 at some point, midway through the third quarter. And me and the small cadre of Pacers fans that are always in attendance when the Pacers come to town were a little bit concerned, I'll say it. But we did not give up because we felt that the Pacers were playing not great, but not horribly. And the Wizards were just shooting insanely good from three-point range. They, on the game, shot 51% from three-point range.
Ugh.
And the Wizards aren't a team that take like 12 a game. They took 45 three-pointers, right? So this is where the math gets you, right? So they outshot us 23 to 16 from the three-point range alone, which is 21 points.
Wow.
It's a 21-point gap you need to make up. And so it's kind of incredible that we did. And then, Carlisle found a lineup that worked, basically going a little bit small and putting Obi Toppin at the 5. And Obi Toppin just went bananas. He had 31 points. Nobody could stop him. And then my boy Ben Mathurin sort of went bananas as well. And the other key thing was, I think I mentioned this the last time we went to a game, but there were 2 gentlemen that were well served and very vocal. And there were several times, so I was sitting like kind of right behind the Pacers bench, and James Johnson was heavily involved in communicating with these gentlemen, and it was a very refined discourse, I think, but it got the Pacers very fired up. And so they basically every time out, you would see the guys come back, and every guy was just talking just complete trash to these 2 dudes. And security had to come over a few times and be like, "Hey, chill out." Anyway, yeah, they got their mojo back in that game, which I thought, actually, I went to the game with my friend Mike, who is not a big NBA or Pacers fan, and I was explaining to him that, how our season had gone and that we were playing super well, but then the wheels have been coming off the last week, and we're going into the break, and like we kind of need a win just to not have this bad taste in our mouth. And I think that the fact that they pulled this out and the way in which they pulled it out, I'm hoping will be a good momentum builder going into the final stretch of the season here. It's pretty crazy. And one last highlight, there was a shot that Bennedict Mathurin made. I shared it on Slack, which gives one angle of it, but I was seeing the reverse angle of it, which is where he drives to the left, he kind of gets bumped, he's fading away out of bounds, he's kind of like behind the backboard, and he just like puts up a one-handed shot and just like kind of flips it in. Just beautiful. It was poetry the way he made that shot. Like I was out of my mind. It was in overtime as well, so not a very critical possession. So, I enjoyed myself, I guess.
Yeah. No, an amazing way to go into the All-Star break. I think pretty sure Obi tied his career high with 6 3-pointers. It's just
He was on a heater.
lighting it up out there. If there's one thing that we've learned about this team so far this season, they tend to do well when they've got some rest. So hopefully the All-Star break will serve them well.
Yeah, and it should be noted, the Clippers game, which Colson might argue is the win of the year, Miles Turner went out in that game with concussion, like early in that game. So basically the last 3 games we haven't had Miles Turner. And he is critical to a lot of the things that this Pacers team does. So
For sure. And we're shorthanded on big guys. We went out and got Thomas Bryant because we didn't have any backup bigs. Now he's our starting center. So it's like, and you're right. Carlisle was able to get something out of Obi Toppin being the backup center and moving around. But yeah, this win was all about Benedict Mathurin. I wrote afterwards that this guy's the future of the franchise. The way that he played on both ends of the floor, I thought really it was his defense that was so impressive in the fourth quarter and overtime, maybe second half. Just a lot of deflections, just being in the right place at the right time. His level of activity was just incredible. It was really fun to watch him basically put the team on his back and get us this win. Shout out.
yeah, it was very nice. And shout out to the Pacers fans that were there. I don't know if it came through on the broadcast, but there were a couple points where we got a good "Let's Go Pacers" chant going. And the Wizards, for those of you that haven't been paying attention, are horrible. They've won like 6 games on the year, so there's like 50 people in the crowd. So we were pretty loud, I think. So I have no idea if that influenced the players, but I like to think it did. So.
Well, I mean, they just... You just said the Wizards were really hot from the range, which they were, but also that was partly because they were open. I mean, it didn't look like we cared to play defense in the first half.
Sure.
They're 9-45, so I can't imagine the Pacers were circling them on the calendar.
We thought we were just going to win that one by showing up, I guess.
Everybody else has, so why not us? But these are all still they're professional players. Like they can win. There's talent there, so you still got to go out there and play hard. But we had an incredible night from our bench against the Wizards. We had 60, 70, 73 points or so from the bench, which is a lot of points.
A lot of points.
Jason, you mentioned that I thought the Clippers game was the game of the year so far. Do you not agree?
Yeah, so I didn't catch that one live, so I went back and watched it actually, and I was very impressed with the effort in that game. Like down 22, was it? In the second quarter, and then basically had cut that down to 0 by halftime, kind of. And even we had the lead at halftime. And then the game got close down the stretch, and I thought that the way that we closed that game was incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we went on separate runs of 11, 20, 14, and 11 again, or something like that throughout that game. So we just had these flashes where we were just dominating them. And yeah, I thought it was.
You're right. We were able to just throw perfect basketball at them for stretches, and it was as good as I'd seen the team play in stretches, with just the level of activity on the defensive end, the scrap plays, the getting on the floor, and also Pascal was just in his bag, just doing what he wanted to do. He gets 33 and 11 in this game, but doing that stuff in that mid post is just devastating.
And 5 of 6 from 3.
Yeah. Well, and I just thought it was across the board. Everybody contributed. You get Shepherd, has got a couple 3-pointers. He ends up with 12 points. Mathurin was also great in that game. So I just for being down 22 points, for everybody showing up and playing hard and getting on the floor, and for just watching just beautiful stretches of basketball. It was my game of the year so far.
Harper, there was the Portland game, which no one's talking about for some reason.
Oh, I'm sure if I call Nico right now, he'll talk about it for me.
I'm sure he wouldn't stop talking about that.
I mean, we didn't score 90 points.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Portland like the best defensive team in the league now or something? They had done like a lineup change like a couple games before they played us, and like their defense was like amazing now.
They were better than their 500 record for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well, I'm looking at their.
you should be able to score 90 against them.
But here's the thing: field goal percentage as of today, 23rd in the league. 3-point percentage, 27th. Points scored, 25th. Total rebounds, 22nd. So it looks like they decided for one game they would play offense and just mop the floor with us.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we're not beating it. Like Harper said, we're not beating anybody if we don't break 90. We're not beating anybody if we don't break 110, let alone 90. Yeah.
It was just, was that one a back-to-back?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
think-
That was it was a schedule / effort loss.
Yeah, after we had to like put in a ton of effort to pull out that Utah game.
Playing
the
from
night before.
behind all night.
Yeah, getting clutch baskets from Halliburton and Siakam down at the end of that one.
Yeah. I honestly, I thought there was no way we were clawing our way back into the Clippers game. I agree. It's not my win of the year. I still like the shellacking we gave the Cavs in that first half of that home and away, but I did not think we were winning that after that Portland game. But I was impressed that we managed to stick with it, and it really was a solid win down the stretch. I like that one. Only to seesaw back to losing to the Austin Reeveses.
Yeah.
It was a strange, couple weeks, going into the break. Like I said, we looked like a team that needed a break. And so I'm excited to see what we can do coming out of the other side of this, following the All-Star game. It's going to be a very short week for us. All we've got is home Grizzlies, home Clippers, and hopefully we can go 2-0 in that and start off the back end of the season.
Yeah, we talked about this stretch, I think, in our schedule pod. So coming out of the break, we have 6 of 7 at home. So Memphis, Clippers, Nuggets. And then we get into this juicy stretch where we're home to Toronto, at Miami, home to Chicago, home to Houston, at Atlanta, at Chicago. Which is, we'll talk about in the second half of the show, why at Atlanta, at Chicago is particularly juicy now after the trade deadline. So hopefully we can just rattle off a bunch of wins here.
Yeah, I think we should just win out the rest of the season. What do you think?
I mean, we could, there's a non-zero chance we could win out the month.
Yeah.
We've only got five games remaining, and besides the game versus Denver on the second half of back-to-back at home, bunch of winnable games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Memphis, Clippers, Denver is no joke. Like, those are all good teams, but they're all at home.
Yeah.
And they're all on lots of rest. So.
Yeah. We've had time to prepare, and I think that we can beat those teams.
And hopefully Miles Turner is right. I haven't heard anything.
I haven't either.
Okay.
I think that if we're the team that was playing before they went on that Western Road swing, we can beat all those teams. If we're the team that played the last 6 games, we're going to play 500 ball. So,
right. But I mean, what's the big difference there? It really was that we had a few weeks of really light basketball and we were crushing it, right?
yeah,
And we've had some rest. So I think we're going to crush it coming out here. We'll see if we can sustain the pace. I think that hopefully guys have played themselves into shape and we're ready to go for this. What'll be a long second half of the season, getting ready for the playoffs. But I've got a lot of faith that based upon what we've seen at times, this team can rip off some wins in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, beginning of the year, I think we all agreed that we wanted home court advantage and 50 wins. We're currently in the 4th seed, and we have to go 20-9 to get 50 wins down the stretch here. So doable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we mentioned those upcoming games. Some of these teams that we're hoping to take down maybe a little more easily than we would have earlier, because some of the rosters have changed, and the NBA trade deadline has come and gone. I guess we want to go through the most interesting movements of players that happened over the last really couple weeks. I mean, not everything happened on the deadline, but Colson, for you, what was the most interesting trade, and who's going to be changing? Whose power level has changed really since the trade deadline?
I think Milwaukee got better. They traded Chris Middleton, who's just gotten old and injured, and they got back Kyle Kuzma, who I think is a player who can contribute. So I don't know if we've got to have to probably see them in the playoffs. So that made me nervous.
They did kind of give up on defense between the Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton trades, though, because neither Kuzma nor Lillard gives two shits about guarding on the ball.
Yeah, they'll outscore everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely going to be their job, and hope Giannis can clean it up in the middle, right? I mean, that's for sure the play.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Were they going to bring in? I think I saw they were going to bring in Barry Bonds as a defensive coach.
Oh.
And they were just going to play the zone, right?
Zone and triangle. That's how it's done.
Zone and triangle.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth, Kyle Kuzma not exactly lighting up the league this year. I mean, of course, he's playing for the Washington Wizards, who, aforementioned, have 9 wins, so maybe he's a little bit disengaged, but dropped off from averaging 22 a game to 15 a game this year, shooting a paltry 28% from 3-point range.
Yeah, but now he's going to be open all the time.
Early
When was the last
sample
time that
size.
guy played in a system?
Early sample size, he's shooting 22% in 4 games with the Bucks. So.
He's just kind of been on his own thing for a while now. Like, it's not clear to me that he's a good team player anymore. Like, that's a skill. And it's just a muscle that he hasn't flexed in quite some time.
Fair enough. So I guess my answer is Thomas Bryant for a 2nd round draft pick. Go Pacers.
Go
mean,
Pacers.
Obviously, super intriguing thing is the Warriors acquiring Jimmy Butler from the Heat for Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, Davion Mitchell, and a protected 1st-round pick this year. Butler gives them a dimension that they've been missing. He looks re-engaged thus far in his early stint with the Warriors, and I mean, kudos to them. I thought it was good that they took a swing and try to get the Steph Curry window is closing, so.
And the Jimmy Butler window is closing, so
Right.
you know, you get on a timeline that makes sense. If you're the Warriors, you've got the money, so swing the bat. I agree. It's a good move for them. It's what was on the board, and they took it.
Yeah, and you worry about what he would do in a team without infrastructure, like say what happened in Minnesota, but you don't worry about that in Golden State. And you're right. When he's right, he's a top 15, top 20 player. I think this is good for him. He can score when Steph's off the floor. He can score when Steph's out there. It's good, and early returns look good too. So
This deal was actually a bunch of teams.
Yeah.
The Warriors were involved. The Heat were involved. Jazz, Pistons, and Raptors.
Yeah,
in
5
this
team.
deal. Yeah, Harper got what he wanted. He got Dennis Schroeder to Detroit.
how many times did you have to trade him this trade deadline to get him on Detroit there, Harper?
I think just twice.
Okay.
From Jazz via Warriors to the Pistons, I think is how we did that.
Okay.
I saw him. He has 3 monitors with multiple trade machines and a bunch of AI tools. I don't know, man. It was.
You know what it came down to? Just photographs and string, man. So much string.
Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah.
a beautiful mind in here.
Well, and then you gotta. There's a lot of umlauts too that you gotta do.
There are just umlautitude for days.
Did you send him a Wizards jersey, or just for like skip it? Don't worry about it. We'll
He's
get you
getting
on
his
the tra-
Jazz jersey for sure.
Okay.
Schroeder now on his 9th team in 12 years.
Yeah.
That's something.
Well, I will say that this show predicted that, Schroeder might not make a meaningful difference with the Warriors and might likely find himself in play at the trade deadline since he was going to be eligible, and so it came to pass. What's going to be real interesting coming down the stretch, especially if they have some struggles winning games, is how two super alphas like Draymond and Jimmy get along with each other. Those are two just hyper competitive dudes who don't back down easy. So Steve Kerr may have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, I feel like they'll be cool this year, but somebody's getting punched next season. I don't know which way it's going to go.
It's still probably gonna be Jordan Poole.
Yeah, they'll ball punch Jordan Poole and it'll be fine.
They get Bond over. He's like, you know what? Let's go beat this dude up.
He's so punchable.
So punchable.
How about the Pacers draft pick getting into the action? Helped the Raptors get Brandon Ingram. They traded the pick we gave them for Siakam. Along
And
with
also Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown.
A
Also
human
Pacer.
being.
Also an ex-Pacer.
Who you neglected to mention. And who we liked.
We
He
liked
seemed
him,
like a
sure.
good dude.
We barely knew him. He was here for a couple
was-
weeks.
Underperforming, but we seem to like the guy. But he's a second fiddle to the draft pick in Colson's mind.
I don't understand this trade.
I don't either. I mean, I think the Raptors should do it, right? I mean, they got
The
Brandon
Raptors ripped Brandon Ingram. Are you kidding? Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and 2 draft picks?
Right, and one of them is going to be ours, which is not going to be very good. Because we're a very good team.
Yeah, no, they ripped.
And they extended him already, right? Like 3 years, 120 or something
Immediately.
like that.
Yeah, I mean that's. I don't understand why that's all that Brandon Ingram was worth on the open market.
Yeah, I mean, we knew the Pelicans were trying to get rid of him, but you'd figure they'd get something better. Yeah.
The Pelicans just really like Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah. And they're like one of the 2 teams with all the draft capital to trade. So, like, what are you going to get back? I don't know. Yeah, it's tough.
So the thing that the other one where I felt like it was sort of an outsized get here was De'Aaron Fox goes to the Spurs. Sacramento gets Zach LaVine and 4 or 3 first-round draft picks. Like, I feel like Zach LaVine's pretty good.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, for a situation where I think De'Aaron Fox wasn't too happy, like they did quite well, I think, with that haul.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit, how this is just a fantastic move for the Spurs, you know, to pair Fox with Wemby and get some tutelage from Chris Paul.
And
He can
Stephen
teach him
Castle,
how to take advantage of
on fast.
rules and skills challenges, etc. And Stephen Castle, who is a beast. They got a nice little core there. So
I feel like Chris Paul, the first day of like training camp for probably every team he's on, has a team meeting, and he just holds up the NBA rule book and he says, "You don't need this. Never mind. Don't worry about this one. We're going to do this. We're going to do this our way, my way."
It's like the scene in Maverick where he just takes the rule book and throws it away.
Yeah, probably.
Sounds like a
I've
thing
not
that
seen
happened.
it, but
But of course, the trade that matters the most to us is the Pacers sent James Wiseman. Our speaking of players we barely knew, he had a fantastic 6 minutes with us until he tore his ACL or MCL or shattered his leg or whatever happened. We got a future draft pick, top 55 protected.
Second rounder.
Oh, did we get that? I thought we just got cash. I thought we just got cash considerations.
No, we gave
got-
up.
Yeah, we gave up.
Yeah, we
cash.
gave cash.
We paid
Gave cash?
Yeah, we paid
Well,
them to take James.
Depending
Wiseman off.
on where our top 55 protected
Oh, okay, gotcha, right,
second
okay.
rounder
I
in
missed that.
2026 lands.
Wait, you said top 55 protected? That's ridiculous.
So, explain the protection again to
Joey,
me. That's
So
Joey,
if
I just-
if the pick is within the top 55, the Raptors retain the pick.
Yes, yeah.
Only if they finish in the top 5 of
Which seems
the
inevitable.
NBA in
There's
2026.
Oh, right. So there's 60
There's
picks.
60.
Correct.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah,
I was
60
60
picks.
picks. Yeah.
We are
So
convinced that
we will-
Brandon Ingram move is going to move them right to the top of the ladder in 2026.
So there's a 5 in 60 chance, if it was random, that would.
5 and 30. It's definitely a second round
It's a second round pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like
Okay.
we're gonna end up with them.
with their number one.
We won't even end up with their number 55 pick.
No.
But I don't know what happens. I mean, something must convey afterwards when that doesn't happen, right? So do we get cash back at that point, or does
so
it convey to the next year?
Yeah, I assume that it goes for like probably 3 or 4 years until it either conveys
Yeah.
or we
The
just
first year
drives
it's
on.
top 55 protected. The next year's top 45 protected. Or something like that.
exactly.
Like usually that's how it works. Like they grade down. You know?
Beautiful.
Yeah, Wiseman, 5 minutes in a Pacers uniform.
And 6 rebounds though, right? Something like that. He looked great.
It literally takes
6
me longer
points,
to drink a cup
1
of coffee.
rebound.
Marcus Smart goes to the Wizards. Were busy.
Hey,
Jason.
you gotta try to
Wizards?
tank for Cooper Flag as best you can.
Yeah. So a bunch of teams are tanking now, right? So the Bulls are out of the basketball business for the rest of the season.
Well, the Bulls finally realized they were out of the basketball business for the remainder of the season. Yeah.
And then the Wizards, I guess, never were in the business of basketball this season.
So not a huge trade, but the Cavs acquire DeAndre Hunter, who's a fine player, but they do move 2 former Pacers and Karis LeVert and Georgie Niang, along with 3 second and 2 pick swaps to the Hawks.
I feel like there was probably really good chemistry on the what are they called? The reasonable Cavs, the moral Cavs.
They're,
Ethical.
I think they play
Ethical.
They play
basketball.
ethical
They
basketball.
play
Yeah,
ethical
ethical
basketball.
basketball.
Yeah, so this might hurt their chemistry. I don't know.
You think Karis LeVert and Georgie Niang play ethical basketball? They don't seem like stat heads to me.
Fair enough. I like both. I like my ex-Pacers.
I mean, I agree. Like, having learned from what the Pacers have done in the past, like, I didn't think that the return of DeAndre Hunter was worth effing with the chemistry of a
Right.
44-9 team or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that. Anything.
I was surprised how much they had to move. They clearly like DeAndre Hunter a lot and wanted to shorten up their rope. On some level, if you've got guys who are yammering about minutes, then that can hurt your chemistry.
sure.
You know, so if you can trade guys who might be a little bit unhappy with their roles for a guy that you like more, I get it. But, only
Yeah.
time's going to tell if, rejiggering chemistry for a team that's been this successful actually works. I agree. It does not come without risk.
I mean, and, like, if you're thinking ahead to the playoffs, like, you're going to have to go through the Boston Celtics. And you need somebody to... You need as many dudes as you can to throw at Jason Tatum and Jaylen
Yeah.
Brown.
And
Yeah.
hopefully once they can
DeAndre
body
Hunter
up.
can do that a little bit better than
Levert.
slow ass Georgia Niang and
doesn't
smaller
care about
Karis LeVert.
defense.
Right.
Karis LeVert.
Right.
And, also a guy who knows his role, right? Like DeAndre Hunter in this
Sure.
league has shown that he plays in a system. So it's probably a good trade. It just seems like they gave up a lot to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got your eyes on a championship, incremental change could be the difference. So
Well, I mean, the Bulls, they're going to have trouble tanking out of the play-in. They're currently in 10th seed, and everyone below them sucks.
they won't.
The Sixers are terrible. God, Paul
But
George.
the Sixers aren't tanking though, right? Like,
No, but Paul George looks
Well,
they're
you tell
bad.
everyone but Paul George that you're tanking. So he's trying, and the rest of the guys are tanking. Perfect.
Yeah.
I
he
feel
will
like if
just
you could
keep
tie-
shooting the side of the backboard. He
I
looks
feel
bad.
like if you told him that he could make some exclusive content about it, maybe he would be more invested. I don't know.
I just don't see them
Give him like a 2-for-1 on YouTube uploads or something.
going on a
Sure.
run here. They've lost 5 in a row. And is Embiid not coming back?
He shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden the East got bad.
Bad real fast.
I mean, it wasn't great earlier, but
Yeah, it's pretty damn top heavy right now.
This is a great opportunity for us to just beat up on these bad teams, get a bunch of wins, hang out with the big kids at the big kids table.
Yep.
yeah. So what are we? We are 5.5 games behind the Knicks, and a game ahead of the Bucks, and 2 games ahead of Detroit.
And somehow the Magic have slid to 2 games under 500, so they're going to be making a run in the second half.
Mm-hmm. And then over in the West, it's OKC, and I mean Denver's on a heater right now, but
OKC's got an 8-game lead. That's all but insurmountable, barring major injury.
Yeah.
yeah. And then we'll see what the Luka Lakers look like.
We won't see how the Anthony Davis Mavs look for a while because he immediately hurt himself.
What?
First game.
You should have told Harper to sit down first. That
Almost
news
passed
was
out.
shocking.
Spit take all over his monitor. He was real excited about. I mean, he was very excited about being there.
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed to. He said he was going to put Dallas back on the map or something like that. I don't remember, but he did leave the game and not come back.
After he pissed off all the Dallas fans by suggesting their city didn't matter.
Yeah. Also, the Dallas fans, I think, have been kind of doing some death threats. I don't know, man. That's Philly style, Well, yeah, we will see how Dallas looks at some point in the future.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch any of their games for quite some time.
Wait, you want to watch Flat Earther Kyrie just shoot as many times as he wants?
Unless he's playing the Pacers.
All right, well, I hope the Pacers, with all the movie, you guys talking about the East looking a little soft since the trade deadline. The top-heavy teams, mentioned the East being maybe top-heavy. Those teams are, the best teams are still probably going to be as good as they were. So it's the other teams that are scrambling a bit. So your Bostons, your Clevelands are going to be, you got to go through them anyway.
Right.
Your Bucks is. Well, here's hoping to a fantastic second half, post All-Star break run for the Pacers. This is the time of year where, the best basketball matters. Obviously, we did not start the season as well as I think as we'd hope, but we're starting to gel. I'm hoping that there's a chip on Halliburton's shoulder for, not making the All-Star game. And I can't argue too much about him not making that. He hasn't played as well as some of these guys. And, hopefully he's got a chip on his shoulder. Siakam has been fantastic. We're hoping Miles Turner comes back healthy soon. And, we've got a bunch of other really good young talent. We have the reigning Eastern Conference Defensive Player of the Month on our team.
Hell yeah.
Did not
So
know that Andrew Nimhart was going to win that award.
I didn't know that was an award.
Well, there you go. Now you do. I think they're naming it after Nimhard now, right?
Do they have an Offensive Player of the Month? I don't know.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
And we got Coach of the Month too, didn't we?
We did get Coach of the Month.
Nice.
Coached up that Nimhart guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Putting the league on notice.
Yeah, we're looking to the team to gel, to really play their best basketball coming here over the next couple months into April, May, June,
July.
and hopefully get a good solid end to the season. And I think we've got a lot of but we built this team
On rock and roll.
on rock and roll.
Yeah,
We built this
I
team
want to be.
with these
I want to be at
players.
Colson's bachelor party on a lake where we have no satellite reception, furiously figuring out how we're going to watch Pacers games.
Really looking
I'm going to
forward
get us a Starlink subscription for that week.
Yeah. We'll just ride the boat into a bar or something. It'll be fine.
Sounds
How about
good.
next to a bar?
Nope, right up
don't.
in there.
Sorry, sir. Pacers are on. All right, team. We'll be back with you next week, and excited to round out this season. Until then, you can hit us up on social media. We're on Twitter at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/TheUndebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's a contact form there you can use to send us a message and email. Shout out at TheUndebeatables.com and then the website /store.
For the architect Donnie Walsh and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Sick Leonard. Turn out the lights. The party's over.
Is
Lovely.
it over?
It's over.
How do you spell that?
There's an ER, I think.
Many.
I don't think there's more than one ER.
That's like what McClung said after like the third dunk, or maybe the fourth dunk. Because after the third dunk, it was over, but
Yeah.
now it's over.
Every throat slash is one ER.
It's more over. Yeah.
I don't know. You guys don't pay me for spelling. Now you also don't pay me shit.
Actually, we were paying you for spelling. That's why you haven't gotten a paycheck in all these years.
Yeah.
We just didn't tell you that was the message.
Oh God, if I'd
Oh,
only
yeah.
known.
Yeah, no, we just had our quarterly meeting. Harper, Jason, and I we hit our metrics for spelling. We got fat bonuses. So
And somehow the English major.
That's right. I'm gonna get Erica to check my work from now on. I need to.
dude, I'm in a community college and I'm doing fine.
All right, Steve.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ivy Tech. How you doing?